All right, and welcome to another episode. And today we want to talk about a topic. Oh, I think many of us, when we've experienced stress, sometimes we get that desire to eat a lot. Sometimes called stress eating. And that's something that I've I've had several friends over the last 12 months, especially during this pandemic, talk about. Oh my gosh, I just keep stress eating. I keep eating all the ice cream. I keep eating whatever is in the house. But also on the flip side, sometimes when people are stressed, it leads to them skipping meals and not wanting to eat. And so that's what we want to talk about today is, why is it that because when people start feeling more stressed, they start having this desire to either eat a lot or just avoid eating at all.
Well, thank you, Ulysses, for inviting me to this new session, and I'm glad to be doing this with you. Yeah, we have to understand that these metabolic functions, that includes even the bad taste, okay, they are related to other mechanisms in the body. For example, the immune system, it is it's always involved. The brain is always involved with all these activities that includes uh, having a desire to eat or inhibit eating. So literally our body needs nutrients all the time, and we don't need to be eating all day, but there are places where we storage energy, like muscles, the liver, and during the hours we're not eating, those nutrients are being uh, put it back into the bloodstream for its use. And there is hormones involved with this. Also, when we're eating, uh, when we get to the point where we get enough food, through a meal, hormones are being made to be sure that you don't keep eating. So basically, there's hormones that are made in the adipose cells. These are cells in where we storage fat. So there's called leptin, this hormone. Leptin has many other functions, even hormonal purpose. But it contributes to help us so we don't go to the buffet and we keep eating. And there is hormones also that helps, when more nutrients are needed in the body, then hormones are made. Some are called ghrelin. They're making the intestines. So if we need to eat, we feel hungry. This is the effect of those hormones that travels through the bloodstream to the brain, and then the brain sends signals. Okay, that creates this sensation of discomfort in your stomach. You want to eat. Okay, so this is good. It's a good thing. These hormones can be affected, so it can be disorders. And these disorders are the production of leptin, maybe too much leptin or too little leptin, or perhaps the production of ghrelin. Okay, too much ghrelin or too little ghrelin. They are affected by stress hormones. So there's like almost 11 stress hormones. They're making the adrenals. They are right on top of the kidney. The two little nut-sized, tissue that they're very powerful. They make cortisol. They make adrenaline. And these hormones, they have a purpose. No? There's danger. Then we have a lot of those hormones. So then we can run. No, we feel calm. Then there is less of those hormones. Like we can sleep. So at nighttime, like 3 hours after the sunset. So the circadian, kicks. This metabolic clock kicks in, and then there is less of those hormones, and it's more of some other hormones. So we can start feeling calm. So by 9 p.m., 9:30, you start feeling calm. You relax. And then you can sleep soundly by, whatever, 9:45, 10, 10:30, you're done. Okay. So these hormones could be affected in many different ways. And of course, the root of this problem that has to do with disorders, eating disorders. They create stress. There's different kinds. There's common types of eating disorders. No, so this term probably is about more than food. They are complex mental health conditions that often requires, in occasion, intervention that are no, because this eating disorder can create overweight. No, and they become so psychological. Of course, these disorders are there's descriptions. So what they are. Um, there's a range of these psychological conditions. They cause unhealthy eating habits. That can be developed. In severe cases, can cause serious health consequences like a lot of overweight or obesity. Those eating disorders can have a variety of symptoms. However, uh, most those are severe are like restricting food, like eating, or food binges or purging behaviors. Some people, becomes in extreme, like over exercising, or even a desire to vomit. So this can affect people. It doesn't matter what gender. So they can cause some other factors. And there's research that's been done out there that is showing that there's all related to stress. Of course, like for example, when we have a stress, and we have to understand the process. Stress is not bad. It's a physiological mechanism. It helps us to when it's danger. It helps us when it's something new that happened in our life. There is a crisis. There is a challenge. There is an opportunity. So this stress hormone plays so we can learn, and be willing to deal with the situation without having psychological stress. So, but of course, unfortunately, we can actually, by thinking too much, we can produce a lot of these chemicals, stress, and now it becomes a problem. Because an excess of those stress hormones will actually block the production of leptin, or will block the production of ghrelin, or will block the production of other chemicals in the brain. Because for our body, it is a priority. It means danger, even though there's no real danger. I'm just thinking about my mother-in-law, and maybe I'm thinking about my son. He's only 2 months, and I'm really worried that he's gonna turn around. Okay, or my teenager. He made a mistake, and I start really overthinking. So this mental condition, it produces inflammation in the brain and in the rest of the body, and of course, affect hormones produced in these adipose cells. Then I can go to and start eating more than what I need, or eating what I don't need, or maybe it can be affecting, ghrelin production, and I'm not eating, even though I'm supposed to be having breakfast. I don't feel hungry, and my body needs it, but I don't feel hungry, and that becomes a sign that there's a disorder that's been created by a mental state. Difficult to really understand because there's so many beliefs that we adopt or we kind of embrace from the collective beliefs. Like, for example, believe that if you go out and don't have breakfast, it's a sign that you are super powerful. Okay, you don't have an appetite to eat. That means that you're fine. But this is a sign there's a problem. If you skip meal, or you wait like 3 hours to have breakfast, or you don't feel hungry at the time, it creates a disorder that affects your metabolic state. And of course, it is a challenge for our health and affect our mental health too, because the hormonal disorders affect other hormones and affect the production of some of the chemicals that can drive us to have too much adrenaline. Some people will have so much energy all day long, they even go smiling, running like a chicken with no head. Okay? And they might be thinking they're healthy, but that is a sign that there's a problem. Or some other people, will have a problem with the production of dopamine. There's no motivation to do things. Or serotonin, I don't feel good about life. Or I'm not satisfied with things that I already have. I affect the way how I see life. I can really feel no gratitude for things, and it's really a disorder that it goes beyond, food. It goes affecting my life, and that will extend, some problems with behavior that could affect my relationship with my spouse, my kids. But Ulysses is one more component throughout this, that these disorders affect the brain too. So as we know, the brain consumes a lot of energy. It's a small size organ, okay, but it consumes 25% of the entire energy and nutrients that we use. So just if you're looking at 2.5 pounds, okay, compared with, how much you weigh, Ulysses? 185?
Like 170.
170, okay. So imagine 170, you only have 3 pounds of mass in your brain, but it consumes 25% of all the energy in your body. So if it's a disorder that is hormonal, okay, there is another thing. It's just the way how this storage energy is being put back into the bloodstream, because these disorders that are hormonal, related to cortisol, related to insulin, related to some other chemical like ghrelin, leptin, will affect the way how this energy is available. Because even if we have energy storage to adipose cells in the liver, that doesn't count until it's in the blood available for our cells. So now, if it's not available for the cells, the brain is going to.
Yeah, I lost you. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
So as we know, the other challenge is the availability of energy in form of glucose and some other nutrients to the brain. So literally, since there's so many hormones involved with this process of making the storage energy available to cells, and being the brain an organ that needs a lot of energy, when these processes are being inhibited by the stress hormones, which is related to a mental condition, basically the brain will send signals of, being an organ a priority, send signals, for you to put into your body something that quick is gonna put out some glucose on the bloodstream. And the quickest thing is anything with sugar, processed sugar will be absorbed immediately to the bloodstream. And bread, okay, fats. So particularly the sugar in the bread. The fats takes a little longer to get in the bloodstream. But as soon as you have that into your mouth, the sensation satisfaction come. I mean, not that the sugar will be in the bloodstream in half of a second, because it takes a few minutes to get in there. Nevertheless, the sensation, okay, it produces an immediate signal into the rest of the body to work harder to assure that the storage glucose is available into the bloodstream. So it is your brain pushing you to actually go and grab something quick. Even though we may have 40 pounds of overweight, where there's enough energy, there is enough glucose in a form of fat. Even if you had it, you just eat in the morning, and you have enough safe, to give you the energy needed and the nutrients. The fact is that these metabolic processes are being affected. There's damage in the body that's happening. The brain cannot have what it needs to work. So this binge and eating sometimes it is nothing but the result of these other conditions, that started being created with our mental state, what we're thinking, what we believe of the world, what we believe of ourselves. Some of the other tendencies, these tendencies are literally they're blocking our way to feel internal peace, this internal happiness. It moves us, there's some other thing, will affect us, arrogance, jealousy, envy. which are conditions generated by our mental state. There is mapping going. So we filter life through those things. So the stress mechanism turns on. And we need to learn, what really is taking place in our mind, what is really moving and affecting the biology that, eventually get us into big problems, because these eating disorders really create tremendous amount of damage in the body. And we can do something about it. And I think, Ulysses, you should put another session where we can talk about what to do, with these issues.
Yeah, so next time, we do need to wrap up now, but next time we will go ahead and talk about things we can do to start, tips to, like, if you're dealing with these issues, on things you can do to start improving that. Because as you mentioned, Dad, it's not just you're not just eating food. It's not just a consumption or lack of food. It's like there's actual damage going on in your body when you were going through this.
Well, thank you, Ulysses. And the final tip, join us on the next session, and we're going to explain what is happening in your mind. And in a series of sessions, we're going to also give you tips about what to do about it.